Hello everybody, today a look at another wonderfully elegant French pocket knife. It's a kind of knife that the French do very well, blend between good general performance and a lifestyle approach, savoir-vivre, enjoying life, and that typically when it comes to their cutlery is shown with knives that, well, you can use for quite a lot of things, but their main focus is not, let's say, opening cardboard boxes all day or cutting those boxes in small pieces or chopping wood. No, they are more designed in general to also look good at the table. Think about the classic Laguiole or a Letier, etc. That's what the French do very well, and maybe better than any other country when it comes to knife making, because, well, let's say I also have several Spydercos which are fantastic high quality utility knives, but I don't think that Spyderco has a knife that looks as good at the table as this one. That is really something that the French, like I mentioned, understand how to do. So this is the Perceval L10. I already discussed Perceval before in one of my first clips, this wonderful Perceval Le Français. Look how pure, how simple these lines are, so modern and timeless. That was the first one that I discussed, and I saw from reactions and emails that many people love this one a lot. So this one it is a more recent development, and actually it comes in three variants. There is also an L8 and an L9. Now, what is the difference between those knives? I will first close this one. Look here, the lever here. This is what makes what is particular about the L10 and the L9. So this is actually an old-fashioned kind of one-hand opening. You could say it's more medieval in approach. They call this a Piémontais system, from referring to the North Italian region of Piémontais, where probably, I didn't check the history, probably this kind of lever knife was already used since a long time, and I guess actually since the Middle Ages, actually, because this kind of lever is very old, actually, that method. And so with some experience you can open it with one hand, but it's not designed to be flicked open as quickly as, let's say, a one-hand opening knife with a spider hole or with a thumb stud. No, this is really more a stylish and charming reminder of a glorious past. So the L9 has this lever as well, but that is a friction folder. This one, the L10, is a nicely adjusted liner lock. So that's the difference between those two. So if you want to go truly traditional in concept, then maybe you will prefer the friction folder, but still, as we will see, there are many modern details as well on this knife. It's a fantastic blend about the classic and the modern. And then there is the L8, who when open looks exactly the same, but it is a purely two-hand opening knife. It doesn't have that lever there, so you only see the blade which you open with two hands. So it's all depending on what you like, actually. A few cold hard facts otherwise about this knife. It's pretty light. It's 74 grams only. It's very nicely in the hand, actually. It comes with a kind of a sheet. This is the leather one. You see here the Perceval logo is a sword. There, this is the leather one, but I think the default one you get a synthetic one. I think that the leather one is an upgrade. I forgot to double check that. So the blade is 9.5 centimeters long, so almost 4 inches, you could say, with the cutting edge around 8.5 of that. So it's 1 centimeter thick, and the blade, the total handle is 1 centimeter thick. The blade thickness itself is 2.5 millimeter, which makes for, together with the flat ground, it makes for a very good slicing. And indeed, this kind of knife, actually, I mentioned it already, the French style of pocket knife, they should look good at the table. It is, I think that food is probably the first usage that people make of this kind of knife, to slice their sausages, etc. That's what it's very good at, with a lot of style. But it will be able to handle, let's say, wood carving as well, and if you really insist, of cutting cardboard with it, it will do it very well. But of course, well, it is very nicely made. You can see there's a lot of precision, and it is sturdy enough for all normal use. But if you really would use a knife heavily day in day out for opening those boxes or for cutting big pieces of wood, you shouldn't use this one. You should use something like a Manix, Spyderco Manix or something. This is not designed for it. This is really the French approach, and I can really especially say this kind of knife actually, if you already have a Laguiole, the classic French pocket knife, or a Letier, then why not add perhaps an L10, or well, who knows, maybe you prefer the Le Français there, or one of the other classic French knives. I think, I know many of the people who watch my little hobby reviews here of pocket knives, they tend to have a lot of American style knives, and well, I really think that this kind of knife would be a good enrichment of your collection. It's a very different approach, so that's why I think it's worth investigating. So it's a kind of a sheep foot blade. It's almost perfectly flat, the cutting edge, only at the end it raises a bit, which again for food is pretty usable. The steel is Sandvik 1927, not a very well known 12C27 that is used very often in French knives, which is a perfectly acceptable mid-range knife that's very tough. Well, this one has more carbon, which makes it cut better. In theory it could rust easier then, but there's also a lot more chromium inside, which also adds to the hardness and the corrosion resistance. All in all, this seems to be, from the little I could find about it, pretty much a high performance knife when properly hardened to, that is really keeps an edge long. By the way, Perceval hardens them until 57 Rockwell, which is well, for normal use perfectly okay. So it's interesting to try it. While I don't have the experience with it like I have with many 12C27 knives, it seems to be perfectly okay. What I could also find is that even if it has higher carbon, well, it's done in such a way that, and it's pretty hard itself, that it still won't chip easily. So it's relatively hard and good wearing, but it won't chip. Coming back here to the construction, so it's open. You see the open construction, always easy to clean, and it's a thin liner lock around 1 millimeter, which is nicely adjusted. This is good to the left there. You can see indeed, well, this kind of knife, when you use it for normal cutting, it will last a lifetime, but it's not designed for the heaviest use. But that's okay. It's notice here also the dramatic wood grain. Well, I took a pistachio wood one. In main reason is because I didn't have that yet. Notice also that some of the pistachio wood is whiter in color here and there, and it really depends on the very model that you have, that you can have a huge streak of white wood in it as well. It's very dramatic and lovely. And what is also fun, when you browse their website, you will find that they have many other kind of wood finishes, two kinds of ebony. The L8 also comes in carbon fiber, not this one. Ironwood is there as well. Really nice finishes, even mammoth ivory, that kind of thing. Of course, those more luxury finishes cost more, but it's fun to check about the finishes that they have actually. You will also see when you visit their website couteau.com that they also have some bigger fixed blades for hunting and so on, one in the Scottish style. So I close it once again, so you can see again how beautiful it is when closed, and here how this foam beautifully goes. Here now, when the blade is closed, you see better here that there's a tiny cutout, so that when you open it, that when it's open, that you can easily reach the liner lock, which is a good design feature. I really like this this kind of lever that makes it deliciously old-fashioned. Look here, this perfect. Very nice, very good gift as well actually, I think, for many people. And as I mentioned, I think you should add such a French style knife, you should add that to your collection. Notice it clicks very nicely into place, no play at all. It's well made, it's sturdy enough, very precise. So, well, I hope you found this interesting. The Perceval L10, perfect example of French cutlery, lovely lifestyle accessory. And even the obscure, well no, obscure is not the word, the relatively rare usage of 19C27 steel may even convince a few steel fetishists to try out this knife, even just for that. And remember, when you check their website, they have several very beautiful wood, handle materials. That's typically French, by the way. In France, typically, often they choose 12C27, or here now something else, some kind of steel that they find good enough for almost all use. I tend to agree. And then they spend a lot of energy in finding different kind of handle materials to make so that you can really select the handle material that you think is most beautiful. So, well, I'm curious about your feedback on this one.